watching the YouTube short one day, and these two people was arguing about which TCG was better between Yu-Gi-Oh and Pokemon. To be honest, they were a little loud and over talking each other, so I think everything kind of got lost. But in a commotion, I got an idea for this video right here. Welcome, Mac and Macettes. It's the Black Little Mac, and in today's video, me personally, I want to compare some of the things that I've seen from playing Pokemon TCG and from playing Yu-Gi-Oh for so long, and kind of give my 2 cents in on this video, and you know, you can kind of formulate your own opinions from there. Now, so some of the points that I will be covering, pretty much the main points I will be covering, are price, entry, the competitive scene, the collector's market, popularity, mobile games, and finally, I will be covering the difference, well, what I understand, between the rotation and the ban list. Now, again, I just recently started playing Pokemon TCG in more of a semi-competitive standpoint, same as Yu-Gi-Oh! So I'm not too familiar with the rotation, but I will try to cover that as best as I can with the knowledge that I possess. Now, if you know more about it and want to sound off in the comments, I'm very much open to that, right? With that being said, let's begin. First thing I want to cover is going to be a 3-parter with this, because I feel like these kind of overarchingly go together, right? And that's price, the barrier of entry, and the competitive scene. Now, every TCG there is, it does require some level of monetary entry to participate in the hobby, and both have plenty of products to get people to collect and play each. Yu-Gi-Oh's booster packs range from anywhere between $3.99 to $4.49, just depending on which set it is, whether it's a side set, main set, while Pokemon typically ranges from $3.49 on up. Again, just kind of depending on what set it is, how old it is, and where you get it from. Some places sell it for like $5, some places sell it for like $8 to $11. It really just depends. Then there's a wide range of other products, whereas Yu-Gi-Oh has booster boxes. Recently they've been doing these token collection things, little boxes that kind of come along with either tokens or things of that nature, or like when they do the side sets, they do these little like $15-$16 little packs. They have like 3 packs in there, that way you don't end up having to buy like a whole box or whatever. While Pokemon has ETBs, little tins, tool deck, like Pokemon tool kits, and a variety of different things that range from anywhere between $29.99 to $399, while Yu-Gi-Oh's ranges from about $39 and sometimes cheaper, as I said earlier, till about like $100, just depending on where you acquire these products. Pricing, along with ease of access and complexity, are the main hurdles players must clear to gain entry into the world of these TCGs. Pricing, bar any scalping mess, with each game is similar for most sets, i.e. ETBs and booster boxes, as I indicated earlier. However, the biggest difference is in the pricing for singles and decks in general. Most players go to TCG Player or local stores to get singles for deck building. Pokemon has multiple versions of some cards that keeps the overall prices for most decks under $50, while Yu-Gi-Oh's is kind of a bit different. Each set has rarity, like a set rarity for each card, and sometimes has 2 or 3 rarities for said specific cards, which causes the prices to fluctuate quite a bit. Right now, the lowest you would pay for a deck is around $150 to about $200. Now, this is for most competitive decks, including staples, main engine, and anything else that you would probably ever think of, including the sideboard. I'm going to touch on that towards the end. But historically, they have gotten up to about like $1,000 or greater. See Teledad, Cosmo, things of that nature. My Yu-Gi-Oh players, you know what I'm talking about. Finally, complexity. With Yu-Gi-Oh, you are able to interact with your opponent in ways that most TCGs don't allow, right? With that, you can have hand traps, you can use hand traps and different things that allow you to better understand what your opponent is playing and do your best to stop them from doing what they're doing to completion, while also maintaining that you can do your same combos or similar combos at that rate. Now, this isn't without issues. One of the biggest complaints levied by players in Yu-Gi-Oh! Is how some decks just have the opportunity to play on your opponent's turn to set up their plays and disrupt while disrupting your opponents. And another is how some archetypes get better support or just come out the gate really good or better than most decks that are being played currently. Pokemon is not as bad and egregious with it, but does have something similar. While you can't interact during your opponent's turn, what happens is most decks are more consistent than others. This difference in consistency makes it so that the best decks are better than the others by a huge margin, and all but guarantee that these decks remain at the top until the next rotation. Gonna talk about that in a minute. Each TCG has their own tournament scene, which includes locals, regionals, and world championships, just to name a few. These events allow players to test their skills against other players. In recent memory, and this is another thing that I want to touch on because there's a difference in how they are presented. In recent memory, Pokemon has treated their world championships a lot better than Yu-Gi-Oh's. The tournament feels larger than life and stands to be where the best of the best from across the globe come to compete. Interjecting here just a little bit, the way that the stage presence of the Pokemon World Championship looks and feels like you're the most important aspect of this tournament at this time is wild, and I love it, right? Yu-Gi-Oh! Has tried to do something similar with the 2025 World Championships. However, that 2024 World Championship kind of ruined it for them because it just did not feel as epic as it should, right? So that's gonna be my first couple points. On to the next one is the collector's market. Now, I'm gonna just keep this one short. Both markets have crashed and rebound and will crash and rebound as they historically do. However, both do have a deep collector's markets that span years upon years, with Pokemon having the most value out of the two of them, right? For the older cards, mainly like base sets, shadowless, and things from the bygone era of the 90s when the anime was first coming out and the card game also was first coming out. And then with the newer cards, particularly with the golden cards coming out of the Mega Evolution sets, and then with White Flare and Black Bolt, having those specifically color-coded cards with Reshiram being a white, like pretty much like an all-white card with like red text. It's really cool looking, along with, what is the other one named? Zekrom being like an all-black card with, I think, white or gold. Either way, if you look it up, it's real tough. I'll probably have one on the screen for you. Whereas with Yu-Gi-Oh, it's kind of the same thing, except the collector's market has gone towards more of things that Konami rarely puts out versus the cards themselves. I.e., when they dropped the Platinum Dark Magician and Platinum Blue Eyes cards, those sold out instantly, along with like Kaiba's briefcase and things of that nature. Those is where the collector's market really shines in Yu-Gi-Oh, seeing as we have a bit of a different structure when it comes to reprints and things of that nature, for the most part. Next, we have popularity. Now, both Yu-Gi-Oh and Pokemon came out the tail end of the 90s, 96 for Pokemon and 99 for Yu-Gi-Oh respectively. A few years later, they captivated the hearts and minds of children around the world with their animated adaptations. For 25 years, Yu-Gi-Oh, and for 30 years for Pokemon, these TCGs have become cultural icons with influence that has lasted generations. For the better part of the last decade, they have been intertwined in this long-standing battle for the top spot in the TCG world, just coming up short against the likes of Magic the Gathering and holding a firm grip on the top 5 spots over the likes of One Piece and Digimon. However, by the numbers, Pokemon has solidly stayed at number 2. I just checked the Q4 numbers for all the TCGs for last year. One Piece is actually above Yu-Gi-Oh in sales right now, just as far as that, right? But I don't think that overall indicates popularity, but as far as sales do go, One Piece is the third highest selling for quarter 3, while Yu-Gi-Oh has fallen down to number 4. I just wanted to kind of interject that. Another way that we're going to look at it is through the mobile game perspective. Now, Pokemon and Yu-Gi-Oh have plenty of ways to play, whether it be on a mobile device, computer, or in real life. There is no shortage of ways to play either TCG. Pokemon has games such as Pokemon TCG, Pocket, and TCG Live, games to play on the go and allow you to experience a TCG without the use of any monetary means for the most part. Now, with Pocket, I know you are allowed at like 2 pack openings at a time. You can buy more to get more packs or to buy the cards themselves. With Pokemon TCG, you can scan cards into the game that you purchase in real life. Very interesting concept there. Or you could literally just play the game and then get the tokens, the things to generate the currency. Currency to generate these things through the game itself. Now, TCG Live is almost a one-to-one comparison to the physical card game and includes a tutorial and plenty of decks that will help you get started on your journey. Pocket also has similar things. It's just kind of a overly simplified version of the game itself, where the deck size is about 30 instead of 60 in the original game, in the actual TCG, and you don't have as many slots, where you have I think it's like 3 to 4 for the bench, and still like 6. I think it might be half, so it might be either 3 to 6 prize cards. It's kind of an easy way for some people to get into the game. Personally, I don't like it, but on the other hand, Yu-Gi-Oh has Duel Links and Master Duels. These mostly serve as alternative formats for those who don't have access to physical cards, or those who do not wish to play the physical card game. Duel Links, like Pokemon TCG Pocket, is a very simplified version of Yu-Gi-Oh that keeps players from getting too overwhelmed with the different options for deck building, and it has great animation to go along with it, with the different ace monsters and various other cards. Master Duel plays similarly to regular Yu-Gi-Oh, except it has its own release schedule and ban list that directly opposes the paper variations of the TCG, i.e. the OCG gets the cards first, months later the TCG will get the cards, and then around months to a year later Master Duel will get the cards. That's not always the case. Sometimes they will put cards inside of Master Duel first and then bring out the TCG. But regardless, that's just how that works out. Now, this one is where I'm going to need people to sound out and actually talk about, because I know from personal experience with the ban list, it is drastically different than rotation. With that being said, each TCG has its own unique way of balancing their games. Pokemon chooses to rotate sets and certain cards in them out of the standard format to encourage players to play new strategies. These rotations happen at the beginning of the year, with the next one being April 10th, 2026, phasing out, which this one particularly effectively phases out 3 of the top decks from the last year and the plethora of staple cards that have seen play for the better part of the year. Each rotation lasts a full calendar year and gives a scope of which cards and decks were not only the most represented, but had the highest percentage of wins from all the tournaments across the board. Yu-Gi-Oh has what is known as the Forbidden Unlimited list by the company, but for the fans, you already know what it is. It's called the ban list. In theory, it's meant to balance the game and push players to play other decks and buy the latest products. The last ban list went into effect in October of 2025, hit many cards that made the games either drag or unbearable. These ban lists happen infrequently for the TCG and sometimes can range from 3 to 4 months apart, and other times can be up to half a year apart, depending on what's the status of the game, which products have moved the meta into different ways, and so on and so forth. Now, and that's going to be like a whole separate video for this one. Simply, and just kind of sum that up, simply put, Pokemon handles from what I understand, Pokemon handles their rotations how Yu-Gi-Oh should handle their ban list. And I know that this isn't something that can directly be a one-to-one, and it cannot work in the sense of Yu-Gi-Oh, seeing as you can't just rotate things out and then hope for the best, right? Because there's far too many products that come out, too many decks that get support, and then there's other variables that go into why the ban list is implemented, right? But I like how the rotation does things, because there's a letter at the bottom of each card that allows you to see which one is going out. For this particular one, is coming up in April. It's the G cards that are getting phased out. That means everything from the beginning of, like, with Scarlet and Violet, like the base set, onward to I think like halfway through that era of Pokemon, is just completely eradicated. If that's not the case, please just let me know. So effectively, that means Gardevoir EX, not Mega Charizard, but regular Charizard EX, terrestrialized into a Darkmon, and Goldango, which effectively are three of the most represented decks and three of the highest winning decks, are getting phased out of competitive competition to make room for other decks, i.e., maybe like the upcoming Mega Dragonite deck, Mega Charizard Y, or Charizard X, along with the other megas that the other Mega Pokemon cards that came out within the last two Mega Pokemon sets. Now with Yu-Gi-Oh!, as I said earlier, it's a bit different because with the last ban list, it did take cards out of the game that made the game seem to drag on a little bit. Now, it didn't balance it the way that most hoped it would, and the only thing it did was just allow people to not get sacked by floodgates and get sacked by one-ofs and things of that nature. With this upcoming one, which I have a video posted on the YouTube that you can go watch after this, that really should be the way that the ban list is in that video. Just go ahead and watch that and then come back to the end of this. But you know how, but Yu-Gi-Oh players, you know how Konami is. Now, in closing, Pokemon is more beginner friendly and does due diligence to allow players to learn not only how to play, but how to deck build as well. While Yu-Gi-Oh is a bit more complex, but with tools like Master Duel, it allows players to learn the game and practice deck building and combos, thus introducing a new audience into the world of Yu-Gi-Oh. Now, sound off in the comments with that. I'm the Black Lil Mac. Peace.